I gave my cousin the secret family recipe for braised meat. In 3 years, we opened 27 chain stores, annual profit of 60 million. At the end of the year, she only gave me 400 yuan. 400 a month is enough, right? You just help chop vegetables in the kitchen. It's not hard work. Keep up the good work. I looked at the pay slip, didn't argue or make a scene. Just that night, I quietly locked the craft paper envelope I'd carried for 3 years into the bottom of my suitcase. The next morning, I stood right across from her flagship store at the entrance of that 12-square-meter broken garage and signed the lease. 3 years ago, when my cousin Zhao Yutong came to find me, I was running a braised meat stall in my hometown. That stall was passed down from my grandmother. I started learning from her when I was 12. Just caramelizing sugar took me 3 years to master. Grandma said I have a good nose for the same star anise from different places and years. I can tell by smell if I need more or less. Xixi, your skills are wasted in this small town. Work with me, I'll put up the money to open a shop. You provide the recipe, and when we make money, we split it. I believed her. I showed her grandma's yellowed, handwritten spice notebook. I told her the names of the 13 core spices. I taught the chef she hired the steps for making the master stock, word for word. But what I didn't tell her was that notebook only had the basic recipe. The thing that really brings the braising liquid to life isn't on paper. It's in my nose, on my tongue, in those few seconds of judgment. When I taste it at 3 a.m. every day, the same Sichuan pepper, today's batch and yesterday's have different numbing levels. The same cinnamon, bought in summer versus winter, has different oil content. You can't see these differences with the naked eye, and instruments might not detect them either, but my nose can smell them, and my tongue can taste them. Then I adjust, adding 2 grams more or 3 grams less, putting it in 5 minutes earlier or 10 minutes later. It's different every day. This kind of thing can't be written on any paper. The first store opened next to the East City Market. 40 square meters, I manned the kitchen alone. At 3 a.m., I started the stock. At 4 a.m., I added the spices. When the first pot of braising liquid bubbled up at 6 a.m., the whole street smelled amazing. The first month's revenue was 120,000. Zhao Yudong was overjoyed. That night, she took me out for hot pot. Raising her glass, she said, "Xixi, you're my golden goose." Then came the second, third, and fifth stores. Every time a new store opened, I had to be there for at least a week. I'd personally adjust the first pot of braising liquid and only leave after confirming the taste was stable. The chefs in the back, following my recipe, could get it about 70-80% right. For the remaining 20-30%, I had to tour each store regularly. Taste each one, adjust each one. By the third year, there were 27 stores. The brand was called Yudong Xianxi. Billboards all over the street had Xiao Yudong's face. The delivery packaging had her name on it. The short video accounts used her profile picture. No one knew about me. While I was mixing spices in the central kitchen, Zhao Yudong was in her live stream, smiling at fans and saying, "This is our family's secret recipe, passed down for 3 generations. Absolutely unique." I looked at her face on my phone screen and said nothing. 3 years. I lived and ate in that 10-square-meter employee dorm behind the central kitchen. A metal bunk bed, no windows. Stifling hot in summer, couldn't breathe. Freezing cold in winter, couldn't sleep. I always smelled of braising spices, couldn't wash it off even after a shower. Zhao Yudong bought a duplex in the city center and started driving a BMW X5. She got her nails done, permed her hair, and wore different clothes every day. Her social media was full of travel photos, afternoon tea, and pictures with various bosses. At the annual party, held in a hotel ballroom, over 30 employees, plus store managers filled 6 tables. Zhao Yudong stood on stage handing out year-end bonuses. Every time she called a name, there was a round of applause. Those people went up smiling to collect their red envelopes, shaking hands and taking photos with Zhao Yutong. The West City store Manhwa got 10,000. The regional Manhwa for 2 South City stores got 20,000. The flagship store Manhwa got 25,000. Then she paused, smiled, and said, "Xixi, come up." I stood up from the corner seat and walked up. The whole hall went quiet for a moment. People whispered, "Who's that?" "I think she's from the kitchen." Zhao Yudong handed me an envelope. Her voice was loud, deliberately so everyone could hear. "Xixi is my real cousin. She usually helps me chop vegetables in the kitchen, wash spices, do odd jobs. To be honest, it's not heavy work. 400 a month is enough for her, right? You didn't sign any partnership agreement. We're family, so we keep accounts clear, right?" People laughed, not a big laugh, but that polite, knowing laugh that goes along with the bot. "Kitchen helper," I heard it clearly. I looked down at the pay slip in the envelope. Over 1,000 early mornings, at 3:20 a.m. The soul of 27 stores was all tasted out by me, 1 bite at a time, annual profit of 60 million. She only gave me a monthly salary of 400. I put the envelope in my pocket. "Thank you, cousin." Zhao Yudong probably didn't expect me to be so easy to deal with. She was stunned for a moment, then smiled and patted my shoulder. "Good girl, Xix. Next year, I'll take you on a team building trip to Sanya." I walked off the stage. No one looked at me. They were already discussing which KTV to go to next. Back in the dorm that night, I closed the door. From my work uniform pocket, I pulled out the craft paper envelope that had been with me for 3 years. Grandma's notebook, ballpoint pen on yellowed letter paper. Some parts were blurred by oil stains. Some parts were frayed from me flipping through them too many times. The edges were worn. I locked the envelope into the bottom of my suitcase. Then I picked up my phone and found the photo I'd taken last week. When I passed by the garage across from the flagship store, a broken garage with its rolling door shut tight, a piece of A4 paper taped to it. For rent. I dialed the number on it. "Hello? Is that garage still for rent? The garage was right across from the flagship store, separated by a 2-lane road. 12 square meters, used to be an e-bike repair shop. The floor was covered in a black layer of greasy oil stains. Couldn't scrape it off. The wall paint crumbled at a touch. The concrete was exposed. In some places, there was a layer of green mold. The drain was mostly clogged, giving off a sour, stinky smell. There was a hole in the ceiling, through which you could see the floor tiles of the upstairs apartment. The landlord was a guy in his 50s. He looked me up and down while smoking a cigarette. You're gonna make braised meat here alone? In this plate? Minimum 6-month lease, $1,500 a month, but I'm telling you, there's no exhaust system here. People lie upstairs. If there's too much smoke, they'll complain. Okay, I'll figure it out myself. I had a total of 18,700 yuan in my pocket, saved over 3 years, living and eating with my cousin. I sent 1,000 to my grandma every month and 500 to my mom. I saved the rest. After 3 years, this was all I had. I paid 3 months rent, 4 times 500, left with 14,200. I needed money for a stove, a pot, spices, beef shank, a freezer, a cutting board, knives, packaging boxes. Everything cost money. 14,200 yuan had to be stretched to the max. That afternoon, I started cleaning. I scraped the grease off the floor by myself, scrubbed the walls with steel wool, used a spring-type drain snake to unclog the pipe. On the fourth push, a gush of black water sprayed all over my face and clothes. I crouched there, wiped my face with my sleeve, and kept going. Shen Yu came after work. He works in sales at a building materials market, making about 6,000 or 7,000 a month, not much. We've been together for 2 years. We rent a small 1-bedroom apartment, a 20-minute e-bike ride from here. He saw the state of the garage. He stood at the door, not moving. What's wrong? Nothing. Did you bring the brushes? Take a break. I'll do the scrubbing. He unloaded 2 buckets of latex paint and a few brushes from his e-bike, put on slippers and went in. One of us painted the walls, the other fixed the pipes. We worked until 11. The upstairs neighbor came down and yelled at us for being too loud. Shen Yu apologized with a smile. Sorry, we'll stop now. After we finished, we sat on the curb in front of the garage. I ate a plain steamed bun. He ate one too, with a 2 yuan bottle of water from the convenience store. Across the street, the Yutong Sanshi flagship store was brightly lit. A few people were still in line for a late-night snack. The store sign was huge. Gold acrylic letters with a lead strip around them. You could see it from far away. Shen Yu glanced across the street, then looked at me chewing on my bun. He mumbled, "Have you thought it through? If you have, then let's do it." He didn't ask why I left. He didn't ask what happened between me and Zhao Yutong. That's what I'm most grateful to him for. He doesn't ask too many questions. The next day, Zhao Yutong found out. I didn't tell her. The flagship store Manhwa saw me going in and out of the garage across the street, carrying iron basins and brushes, and sent a photo to Zhao Yutong. When she called me, her tone was light. Like an adult humoring a child throwing a tantrum. Xixi, I heard you rented a garage across the street. Throwing a tantrum? Alright, come back. I'll give you a raise. How about 5,000? No need, cousin. I want to try it on my own. Try what? Ha ha ha. Xixi, don't be silly. You know how to make braised meat? I get that. But do you know how to run a shop? Do you know how to source ingredients? Can you negotiate prices? You don't even know how to get a business license, do you? You're just messing around on your own. What if you lose money? I didn't answer. Fine, go ahead and mess around. When you've had enough, you can come back anytime. I'll keep your spot open for you. When you come back, work hard. I won't treat you badly. That night, my aunt called. Su Jingxi, look at what you've done. Your cousin has been supporting you for 3 years, helping you make money, giving you a place to lay and eat, paying you a salary, and this is how you repay her? You open a shop right in front of hers? Is this how your mother raised you? My mom was standing nearby. She heard my aunt's voice. Her face changed, her lips were trembling. Mom, it's okay. What's okay? Your aunt can say whatever she wants. I'll do what I do. My mom looked at me. She's a gentle person, never dared to argue with anyone her whole life. She just endures when people bully her. She's endured her whole life. I'm not like her, but I don't plan to be like her forever. Over the next few days, I went to the building materials market and bought the cheapest stainless steel stove, 300 yuan. I found a used, almost new large pot on a second-hand platform, 6 yuan. I asked a friend of Shen Yu's, who works with metal, to weld a simple exhaust pipe for me. It goes out the window. Materials and labor, 200 yuan. The freezer was one Shen Yu got from a colleague. That colleague's barbecue place had gone under. Half price, 800 yuan. Cutting board, knives, spice jars, stainless steel basins, scale, packaging boxes, all the odds and ends added up to over 1,000 yuan. 4 yuan. I spent about 8,000, left with over 6,000 for my first batch of ingredients. Shen Yu went with me to get the business license and food permit. He'd looked up the process online beforehand. He printed out all the required documents. Not a single thing missing. The person at the counter asked, "What's the brand name?" I thought for 2 seconds. Jinxie braised meat. Back at the garage, I taped the 2 licenses to the wall with clear tape. Then I opened my suitcase, took out the craft paper envelope, not to look at the recipe. I already knew it by heart. I just wanted to smell the paper. The smell of oil smoke from Grandma's stove, mixed with the scent of ballpoint pen ink and a little bit of damp mustiness. The paper had been in my hometown for too many years. After smelling it, I locked it back up and started prepping. I went to the wholesale market to pick spices. I crouched in front of the star anise stall for half an hour. The vendor thought I was crazy. I pinched 7 or 8 different batches of star anise, smelling each one. Finally, I picked 2 types. One was fresh from Bai's Guangxi this year, strong aroma but shallow layers. The other was aged from Wenshan, Yunnan, rich flavor with a long finish. I mixed them in a 3-to-1 ratio. When frying, the white one goes in first for 15 seconds, then the darker one. This kind of thing can never be written on any recipe paper. I got back to the garage in the evening. I closed the rolling door and lit the stove. Rock sugar sizzled in the oil. Caramel-colored foam bubbled up. I stared at the pot, counting the seconds. The moment the color changed from light amber to deep brown, right at that moment, I poured in the beef bone stock that had been simmering for 4 hours. Steam rushed up. The whole garage smelled sweet. Then I added the spices one by one. Star anise, cinnamon, cardamom, crushed black cardamom, cloves only 4. One more and it would be bitter. White cardamom. Finally, this thing can't be the main flavor. At 2 a.m., the first pot of braising liquid was ready. I used long chopsticks to pick up a piece of beef shank. I cut a thin slice and put it in my mouth. Closed my eyes. Grandma's taste. No, it was even a bit better than when Grandma taught me, because this time, I didn't have to compromise for Zhao Yudong. Damn cost control at the central kitchen. She made me cut the cinnamon by a third, and reduce the cloves from 4 to 2. Shen Yu was woken up by the smell on the folding chair. He asked groggily, "Is it ready?" "Dead. It's delicious." On opening day morning, I wrote a few words on a piece of cardboard with a marker. Jinxie braised beef shank. Daily limit, 30 portions, 38 yuan each. Shen Yu said, "At least get someone to make a sign." "This is too shabby." I said, "No need. Whether the taste is good or not has nothing to do with the sign." At 8 a.m., I opened the rolling door. Across the street, the Yudong Xianxi flagship store already had a line. Over a dozen people standing under that golden sign, waiting to buy the morning braised meat. The air was filled with the smell of braising spices. It was the flagship store's smell. I sniffed it. About the same as before I left, but I knew it would change soon, because the last time I toured the stores was 3 weeks ago. Without my fine-tuning, that taste would drift a little more off course every week. My side was empty. A 12-square-meter broken garage, a handwritten cardboard sign, a girl in an apron standing behind the stove. Cars came and went on the road. No one gave us a second look. Shen Yu stood at the door, hands in his pockets, pretending to look at his phone. But he was really sneaking glances to see if anyone was coming. 9 a.m., no one. He looked at me. I shook my head, meaning don't rush. 10 a.m., still no one. Shen Yu's legs started to shake. Not from cold, but from nervousness. I took out the first batch of braised beef shank, let it rest on the cutting board for 10 minutes. Then I sliced it. Grandma taught me the knife work. Every slice had to be exactly the same thickness. The cut surface had to be smooth and clean, showing the clear grain of the meat. After slicing, I laid them out on the counter. Pink slices of meat, with a ring of dark brown marinade penetration in the middle, lay tree rings. The steam carried the rich aroma out. The smell coming from my side was alive. You could smell the numbing of the Sichuan pepper, the sweetness of the cinnamon, that little bitter note from the cloves, and the deep, rich base of the beef bone stock. At 10:20, a middle-aged man passing by stopped. He was looking at his phone, but his nose reacted first. He looked up, looked around, and his eyes locked onto my stove. "Is this braised beef? Beef shank?" 38 yuan a portion, half a catty. He hesitated for 2 seconds. Not because of the price, but because he was sizing up the place. What good food can come out of a broken garage? But the smell was just too tempting. He paid. I sliced a portion for him and packed it. He sat on the plastic stool at the door and opened it to eat. The first bite. He chewed twice, then stopped. His mouth stopped moving, but his eyes started. First he looked at me, then he turned to look at the Yudong Xianxi flagship store across the street, then looked down at the braised beef in his hand. "Miss, did you used to work across the street?" I didn't answer. I kept slicing meat. He didn't press further. After finishing that portion, he bought 2 more. Before leaving, he turned and said, "I'll bring a few people over today." After he left, Shen Yu couldn't hold it in anymore. He whispered, "Did you see his face when he took that first bite?" "Yeah, he looked like he got an electric shock." "Okay, don't make a big deal out of it." In the afternoon, people started coming. Most were passers-by who followed the smell. A couple came from the flagship store across the street, probably curious about the other braised meat place. An auntie in a floral dress bought a portion and sat at the door to eat. Mid-bite, she suddenly stopped. She stared at the meat in her hand for a long time. Then she looked up at me. "Miss, this taste, why is it so familiar?" It's exactly like when Yudong Xianxi first opened its first store. My hand holding the knife paused. I used to buy it every day back then, but as they opened more stores, I felt the taste changed. It got weaker. It didn't have that punch anymore. I thought my own palate had just gotten pickier. She took another bite, chewed it. "This is the taste. It hasn't changed. This is it." I kept my down, slicing. I didn't say anything. A string in my heart tightened, then relaxed. They could taste it. They could tell. By evening, 30 portions were sold out. Not a single one more or less. Shen Yu smiled as he helped me wash the stove. "Sold out. Don't rush, let's stick with 30 for a few days. I need to make sure this isn't a fluke. 30 portions is just a tete. I need to see if these customers will come back tomorrow, and the day after, and a week from now. If their tongues really recognize my taste, then things will be easy." That night, the flagship store manager called Zhao Yutong. I don't know what was said, but the next day, Zhao Yutong posted on social media, "The most important things in the food business are brand and supply chain. The era of the craftsman is long over. What can one person with one pot do? Wake up, This isn't the 80s. The picture was a map of her 27 stores. I saw it while I was trimming the sinew off the beef shank. I looked at it for 2 seconds, locked the phone, and kept trimming. The next day, 6 people showed up at my door. 3 were brought by the man from yesterday. The third day, 12 people came. I recognized 2 of them. They were regulars at the Yutong Sanchi flagship store. In 3 years at the central kitchen, I'd seen a lot of familiar faces on the surveillance monitors. Now they were standing at my garage door. I opened for business at 10 am. 40 minutes later, 30 portions were gone. I braised another batch, up to 50 portions. By 2 p.m., everything was cleared out. The flagship store manager called Xiao Yutong again. This time, he stood at his door, his voice low. But I have good ears. Someone who's been tuning spices for over a decade has ears as sharp as their nose. But a few regulars didn't come to our place for lunch today. I asked one of them. He said he went to the garage across the street. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end, but after the manager hung up, he stood by the roadside and stared at me for a long time. I didn't look back. I carried my bucket of water back in and kept prepping. On the 7th day of business, I raised the limit to 80 portions. I opened at 8 am. There were already over 20 people in line. A few were repeat customers who had come for 3 days straight. They brought their friends. Across the street, the flagship store's morning rush line had shrunk from over 30 people. It's now less than 20. The gap is already visible. Around 11 in the morning, something happened. A man in a gray polo shirt, a regular at the flagship store. I've seen him on surveillance no fewer than 20 times. He walked in and bought a signature braised platter. He sat by the window and took a couple bites. Then he put down his chopsticks and stood up. He carried the unfinished platter out of the flagship store, crossed the street, and walked to my garage door, got in line, still holding the Yudong fresh food container. A young girl from the flagship store ran out. "Sir, is it not to your taste? I can get you a replacement." The man turned and looked at her. He didn't speak loudly, but everyone in line heard him. "The taste has changed. I don't know when it changed, but this one here tastes like it used to." The girl's face turned red instantly. She stood frozen in the middle of the road for a few seconds, then turned and ran back inside. This didn't stir much emotion in me. But the people in line started whispering. "The taste across the street has changed. I've noticed it's not as good lately. What's the deal with this place?" At noon, a white BMW BX5 parked in front of flagship store. Xiao Yutong got out wearing a beige blazer. Her hair was freshly permed. She stood across the street and watched my line for a while, then walked over in her high heels. People in line automatically made way. Those who knew her whispered, "Isn't that Tongji?" She walked up to me, glanced at the stove and the cutting board, the certificates on the wall, and the handwritten sign. Then she picked up the serving chopsticks, grabbed a piece of braised beef tendon, and put it in her mouth. She chewed slowly, her expression changing. The condescending attitude she walked in with gradually faded. Her brow first furrowed slightly, then relaxed, then furrowed again. She put down the chopsticks and looked at me. I looked back. "If you want to buy, get in line." Xiao Yudong's mouth twitched. She didn't say a word, turned and left. Her high heels clicked on the concrete floor. Click clack, back to the car. She sat there for a long time without starting the engine. I knew what she was thinking. For 3 years, she believed the core of braising was that recipe paper. She had the central kitchen chefs follow the recipe strictly. Each spice measured to the gram, each step timed to the minute. The results were indeed consistent. Every batch was pretty much the same, but between pretty much and right, there's a river she can never cross. That river is called living taste. She doesn't know I make micro adjustments every day. This batch of cinnamon is a bit weak. Use 2 fewer pieces. The fat content in this batch of beef bones is high. It's cold today, so simmer for 30 minutes less. Extend the braising time by 15 minutes. Her chefs can't do that. They just follow a fixed paper. The result looks similar, but tastes completely different. In the afternoon, Xiao Yutong called the central kitchen. Later, the girl from the flagship store who I'm friendly with relayed the conversation to me. "Has the recipe been altered?" "No, but Xiao, we followed the standard exactly. The output has been very stable." "Stable? Stable is useless. The customers are all going across the street. And you're telling me it's stable?" That same afternoon, the flagship store hung up a banner. "Limited time offer, buy one, get one free." I glanced at it and continued cutting meat. 2 days later, among the customers lured back by the promotion, a few showed up in my line again. An auntie came with a box of Yutong fresh food braised duck wings. She walked to my door and asked, "Miss, can I compare this with yours?" Sure. She first ate the Yudong duck wings, then tried my beef tendon. Then she pushed the Yudong box aside and said to the people in line, "No comparison. This is the real taste. That one's just soy sauce water, huh?" I pretended not to hear, but I knew in my heart this battle was already half won. Xiao Yudong finally couldn't sit still. In 3 weeks, she did 3 things. First, she had the central kitchen manager recheck the recipes for all 27 stores, confirming they matched exactly what I had originally given. Second, she changed spice suppliers twice, from Guangzhou to Yulin, from Yulin to Chengdu. Each batch arrived, she had them make a pot according to the recipe. After tasting, she would shake her head. Third, she went into the central kitchen herself, put on an apron, and personally made 4 batches following the recipe. All 4 were wrong. She could taste it. She doesn't cook, but she has a good palate. For 3 years, she's eaten her own products daily. She knows what it should taste like. Now the taste, how to put it, bad. But it's just missing that something. Like a bowl of soup missing that final pinch of salt. Looks full, but tastes empty. She couldn't pinpoint the difference. So she did a fourth thing. She spent 80,000 yuan to hire a food engineering team. 4 people came with a truckload of equipment: gas chromatographs, mass spectrometers, electronic noses, flavor analysis devices. Quite a spectacle. First, they bought 10 portions of my braised beef tendon, took them back for sample analysis over 3 days, produced a report over 20 pages long, all volatile flavor compounds, their components and concentrations clearly labeled, accurate to the ppm level, Maillard reaction product ratios, amino acid content, saccharification levels, every item listed clearly. Then they tried to replicate it based on this data. Zhao Yudong took the first bite, chewed for a while, then put it down. It's off. The lead engineer Zhou was in his early 30s, thick glasses, honest. It's okay while eating, but as soon as you swallow, it's gone. The one across the street leaves an aftertaste for half an hour. Zhou's second version added a trace of smoked flavor extract. Zhao Yudong shook her head. Toss burnt plastic. The third version removed the smoke, added caramel, too sweet. The original sweetness was subtle. Yours is too obvious. The fourth version changed the ingredient order, simulating a 2-stage process. High heat stir fry first, then low heat slow braise. This version was the closest. Zhao Yudong's eyes lit up when she ate it. First bite, second bite, there was expression, but by the third bite, it faded again. The beginning is lay it, but the middle is empty, and the end falls apart. How to put it? The front is right, the middle breaks, the tail is gone. Zhao was silent for a moment. But Zhao, to be honest, chemically, our replication is about 97% accurate. The remaining 3% might be related to the cooking technique. Lai went to flip the wok. How much force to use, what the oil temperature curve is, or it could be due to minor differences in the raw materials. In layman's terms, the person making this dish makes tiny real-time adjustments every day based on conditions. Same recipe, same ingredients, but what they make is different from anyone else. You paid me 80,000 yuan to tell me it's a people problem? But how? Science can analyze components, but it can't replicate skill. That fact won't change just because you spend more money. She kicked them out. That afternoon, I was braising meat in the garage. A girl walked in holding her phone. Long hair, light makeup, looked like a content creator. Hi. I'm Xiaozhu, a local food blogger. I've eaten all over the city. Can I film your shop? Film what? Just the process of you making the braised food. I've seen many people recommend your place online. Don't film the process. Just buy a portion and taste it yourself. She bought one. After taking the first bite at the door, she shoved her phone in my face. Bot, this is amazing. She made a video and posted it. The title, the smallest shop in the city, the best braised beef tendon in the city, a 12 square meter broken garage. Why do you have to queue for an hour? The video blew up, getting over 800,000 views in a day. In the comments, someone wrote, this tastes exactly Lei Yutong fresh food when they opened their first store. Even better than back then. Over 2,000 likes pushed it to the top. Below, someone replied, Yutong fresh food. Did they change their recipe recently? It's getting worse and worse. Another said, my friend used to work for Tongji, said there was a person who specialized in seasoning, then they left. So that ancestral secret recipe of Yutong fresh food belongs to someone else. I saw these comments. Late at night after closing up, Shen Yu was next to me. I was scrubbing pots. I locked my phone and put it aside. He looked at me and asked, seen enough? The next morning, a new comment appeared under that video. It was from the verified Yutong Fresh Food official Okao. Our brand has complete independent intellectual property rights and a core recipe system. It has nothing to do with any former employees. Please stop spreading rumors. This comment got over 300 replies of criticism. Auntie Liu Gillen organized a dinner at a mid-range restaurant in the south of the city. Second floor private room. The guests included my uncle and aunt, my mom, my aunt, my younger aunt, Zhao Yudong, plus me and Shen Yu. 8 people around a round table. Shen Yu didn't want to come to this kind of dinner. It's a Hongmen banquet. If we go, we'll get scolded and can't talk back. I have to go. If I don't, they'll say I'm guilty. He looked at me. Sigh, then I'll go with you. We entered the private room. Auntie's smile was very warm. Sit, sit. Yuzi is here too. Good, good, good. Everyone was present. Zhao Yudong sat next to her mother. She was wearing an expensive silk dress. Her makeup was exquisite, but I noticed dark circles under her eyes. Concealer covered them, but not completely. She hadn't slept well lately. The dishes were served. Auntie took a sip of soup, put down her chopsticks, and began. I called everyone here today for one thing. It's about Sixi and Tong Tong. Let's sit down as a family and talk. Don't let outsiders laugh at us. She said as a family, while looking at me with a smile, looking very kind. But I knew what this meal was. Not a mediation, but a trial. My trial. Sixi, your grandmother's recipe. You took it, no one stopped you. It was left to you by your grandmother. But Tong Tong has taken care of you for 3 years. You went from a girl selling at a stall in a small town to now having a foothold in the city. You can't deny Tong Tong's contribution to that. Auntie, let me finish first. Tong Tong provided money, resources, and connections. In 3 years, she opened 27 stores. You made your braised food. She ran her business. You worked well together. Why did you suddenly leave? And you had to open right across from her flagship store? Are you telling me it wasn't intentional? Think about it. Does that make sense? Your cousin helped you make money. What you're doing is really unreasonable. When you were in your hometown, how much could you earn in a month? After coming to the city, At least you have a steady income of 400 yuan. I said, Auntie, and she paused. My younger aunt also spoke up. Xixi, some words are hard to hear, but they're for your own good. How big can you make that broken garage on your own? What if you lose money? Your cousin has 27 stores. What good does it do you to fall out with her? You're not young anymore. You need to be practical. They took turns, different angles, same message. I should be grateful to Zhao Yutong. I shouldn't go against her. I should go back. I kept quiet the whole time. Shen Yu held my hand under the table. His palm was warm. Zhao Yutong never spoke. She occasionally lowered her head to dab the corner of her eye with a tissue, not to wipe tears. Her eyeliner was perfect. It was a performative gesture, making everyone think she was the one wronged. Xixi, say something. Auntie's patience ran out. She slapped the table. I put down my chopsticks. Auntie, this recipe was passed down to me by Grandma. I took it out and gave it to my cousin for 3 years. For those 3 years, I got up at 3 a.m. every day to help her prepare the broth and ensured the taste was consistent across all 27 stores. She paid me 400 yuan a month. That's the salary of a back kitchen chopper. The table went silent. Zhao Yudong spoke. Her voice was soft with a hint of a sob, just the right amount. Xixi, I really haven't done enough. But we can renegotiate. Whatever you want, I can give it to you. No need, cousin. I'm on my own now. Auntie slapped the table again, harder this time. You're just stubborn. Tong Tong fed you and housed you for 3 years. What do you have out there? A broken garage? Do you have a Bren? Do you have a Tim? Do you have customer resources? I have my skill. Haha. Skill? How much is that worth? Without Tong Tong building the stage for you, you'd be selling at a stall in your hometown forever. My mom stood up. Her voice was trembling. My mom supported our whole family with this skill for her whole life. What do you mean skill isn't worth anything? You know exactly what I mean. Your daughter opened a shop right in front of hers to steal her business. What's that called? Ingratitude. I stood up. Auntie, are you done? I'm leaving. Burning the bridge after crossing the river? I can't wear that hat. Who built the bridge? Whose water is in the river? Who crossed the bridge? I know in my heart. Everyone here can figure it out if they think about it. I took Shen Yu's hand and walked out of the private room. The hallway was very quiet. I could hear Auntie still cursing inside, calling me ungrateful. My mom followed us out. She wasn't crying, but her lips were trembling. Xixi, it's okay, go home. Don't be afraid. Mom knows you've been wronged. Do what you want. Mom supports you. Shen Yu handed my mom a tissue. She didn't say anything. The night breeze at the restaurant was cold. What do you want to eat? Roasted sweet potato? He rode his scooter 3 blocks to find a stall that hadn't closed yet and bought 2. I sat on the back seat, holding the steaming hot sweet potato. I took a bite. It was sweet. Brother, just wait. I'll make every single one of them take back what they said today. I couldn't see Zhao Yudong's key to report, but I could see something else. She started discounting. A banner hung in front of the flagship store. Red background, white letters. Signature braised platter, originally 68 yuan, limited time offer 34 yuan. Zhao Yudong used to hate discounts. She once said at a store Manhwa meeting, discounting is hurting your own Bren. I was in the back kitchen and heard it. I remembered. Now she was doing half price herself. The discount week did bring in some customers. People love a bargain, it's human nature. But after they ate, they didn't come back. When the discount ended and the price returned to normal, customers left even faster than before. Because the discount let more people try Yutong fresh food. And they realized compared to that 12 square meter garage, it was indeed a tier below. The discount became free advertising for me. I didn't change anything. 80 portions a day, sold out every day. Still 38 yuan a portion. Never raised the price, and I don't plan to. One day at noon a man came, in his 40s, wearing a shirt tucked into his pants, a genuine leather belt. He didn't look like an ordinary customer, more like a businessman. He waited in line for 40 minutes, bought a portion but didn't eat at the door. He carried the container to a nearby step and sat down. He ate very slowly, chewing each bite for a long time. He was savoring it. When he finished, he stood up, walked across the street to the Yutong Fresh Food flagship store, bought another 68 yuan signature braised platter, didn't use a coupon, brought it back, sat on the same step. The 2 containers were placed side by side in front of him. He took a few bites of one, then a few bites of the other, back and forth. Finally, he put the lid back on the Yutong container, which was still more than half full, closed it, and threw it into the nearby trash can. He sat on the step and smoked a cigarette, then got up and left. I didn't think much of it. I see many customers every day. I can't remember everyone's face. But that night, things exploded. I heard about it the next day from the girl at the flagship store. She sent me a screenshot. The man's name was Zheng Gang. He was a franchisee of Zhao Yutong. He owned 2 Yutong Fresh Food branches, one in the west of the city, one on the east side's commercial street. He had invested over 900,000 yuan. He posted a long message in the franchisee WeChat group. The gist was that he had done a personal comparison today. His conclusion was that Yutong Fresh Food's product was not on the same level as the product from the garage across the street. And the owner of that garage was Tongji's former core technician. He had invested over 900,000 yuan because he was attracted by that taste. The taste was gone. He needed an explanation. The group was silent for a full 3 minutes. Then messages started popping up one by one. Old Zheng, is that true? My repeat customers are also dropping off. I thought it was a location issue. Wait, the owner of the garage across the street is the one who used to adjust the recipe? Bot Zhao, say something. Zhao Yudong replied after 20 minutes. She said they were optimizing the recipe. Please give us some more time. Zheng Gang replied directly. Bot Zhao, you said that 3 months ago. My 2 stores had a 15% drop in revenue in the first month, 23% in the second month, and 31% this month. When will it end? Zhao Yudong said. There will be a new plan next week. Sheng Gang said. Then I'll wait until next Friday. If the taste isn't right by then, I demand a general franchisee meeting. The group went silent again. Then someone posted a +1, then another +1. That night, 11 +1s appeared in the group. I knew Zhao Yudong wouldn't take it lying down. At 8 a.m., I pulled up the rolling door. 3 people were standing at the entrance. 2 men and 1 woman holding handmade signs. They read, "Unlicensed black workshop, unsanitary conditions, who's responsible if you get sick?" I recognized the woman. She was the cashier at the flagship store, surname Zhao. The customers waiting in line were startled. Some pulled out their phones to take pictures. Some hesitated and left. I counted. 4 people left. Shen Yu happened to be driving his van to deliver beef tendon. When he saw the 3 people at the door, he stopped the car and got out. "Don't be impulsive. They're blocking your door. You want me to just watch? If we fight, we'll end up at the police station. She wants me to get into trouble." Shen Yu sat in the driver's seat, his hands gripping the steering wheel. I walked to the door, glanced at the 3 people, and didn't say a word. I walked back behind the stove and lit the fire as usual, added the ingredients as usual, started braising as usual. When the smell drifted out, people gradually started lining up again. An old man looked at the signs, then sniffed the air hard. Then he said to the people holding the signs, "Why don't you go report the pre-made meals everywhere?" At 10:30 a.m., 2 uniformed officers arrived. "Su Jinxi, right? We received a complaint and need to conduct a routine inspection." "Okay, all my certificates are on the wall." They checked the business license, food service permit, health certificates, raw material purchase records, and daily disinfection logs. One inspector flipped through my logbook. After several pages, he looked up at me. "Your records are very detailed. You've been doing this since day 1, without missing a single day. Daily temperature, humidity, broth for each, disinfection time, all recorded." They also checked the stove, refrigerator, shelves, and drains. After the inspection, the older one said, "No issues on site. All permits are in order. But according to regulations, after receiving a complaint, we need to take samples. Until the TET results are out, we recommend you suspend operations. It should take about 3 days. 3 days. I knew these 3 days were what Zhao Yutong wanted. She wanted to cut off my customer flow for 3 days. I closed up. Outside, Shen Yu was so angry he kicked a trash can. I taped a note to the rolling door. "Cooperating with food safety inspection. Will resume operations in 3 days." On the first day, people came. They saw the note, sighed, and left. On the second day, more people came. An auntie took a pen out of her bag and wrote something under the note. "We'll be waiting for you to open." By the third day, there were 7 or 8 more messages under the note. One person wrote, "The smallest garage with the least smell doesn't open." I came every day to trek. I didn't idle those 3 days. During the day, I organized the ingredients. At night, I set up and marinated the beef tendon. 3 days later, as soon as I opened, there was a rush to buy. I had to prepare enough stock. The next evening, I got a call from an unknown number. "Hello. My surname is Wei. I've been in the food business for 8 years. I saw your video online. I want to discuss a potential collaboration. Can we meet to talk?" "Sure, no rush. Feel free to contact me anytime." On the 4th morning, the TET results came out. All indicators passed. 3 of the hygiene indicators, E. coli, salmonella, and total bacterial count not only passed, but exceeded industry standards. I taped the TET report next to the rolling door with clear tape. Then I pulled up the door. There were over 30 people lined up outside. I don't know when they arrived. The old man at the front smiled when he saw me open. "Young lady, you're finally open." That day, I sold 120 portions. That night, I posted on my moments. I took a photo of the TET report. I only wrote 4 words. "Thank you for caring." The young woman from the flagship store later told me something. Bot Zhao has changed the recipe for the 4th time this month. She replaced the head of the central kitchen. She brought in someone from a high-tech zone in a neighboring province. A master chef with 15 years of braising experience. His surname is Ma, in his 50s. He really has some serious skills. After Master Ma arrived, he tasted the current braising liquid. He shook his head. "The broth is no good. It's dead." Bot Zhao told him to scrap it and start over. Master Ma worked for 3 days. On the first day, Bot Zhao tasted his creation. She said it was better than before, but still not right. On the second day, he adjusted it again. It was still a little off. On the third day, when she tasted the third version, Zhao Yudong was silent for a long time. It was better than all previous versions, but it still wasn't there. She drove to my garage. She waited in line for 20 minutes, bought 1 portion and took it back to her car. She ate it alongside the one Master Ma made. After a few bites, she put down Master Ma's portion. The difference was too obvious in her mouth. Master Ma's braising liquid was tasty. My braising liquid was alive. Tasty and alive are 2 different levels. Zhao Yudong asked Master Ma, "Can you make it lay his?" Master Ma was very honest. "Bot Zhao, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've never seen anyone else with his skill. The recipe is dead. The person is alive. This kind of thing can't be taught. It has to grow in your hands." Zhao Yutong said nothing. It was like a sheet of music. He was the performer. You hire another musician to play it. They play a different song. "You don't need to come in tomorrow." After Master Ma left, Zhao Yutong sat in her office all afternoon. She did one thing. She dug out everything I had used in the central kitchen. My braising pot, my chopsticks. The sticky notes I had stuck on the side of the freezer. The notes had my handwriting on them. "Today, star anise plus 2g, Sichuan peppercorn 3g, extend by 5 minutes." She stared at that line for a long time, but she couldn't understand it. She didn't know how I judged if the star anise was fresh. She didn't know why I subtracted 3 peppercorns. She didn't know where the extra 5 minutes fit in the process. These things only took me a few seconds to do. Smell it, taste it, adjust it. She could never replicate those few seconds. The atmosphere in the franchisee group had shifted from anger to silence. The silence before a breakup. 2 franchisees posted store transfer notices. One the west of the city, one in the development zone. Zhao Yudong considered legal action. She hired a lawyer to sue me for stealing trade secrets. The lawyer asked 3 questions. Was there a non-compete agreement? No employment contract. Was there a non-compete clause? No contract for the recipe. Were there any formal confidentiality measures registered? No. Bot Zhao, if it's a skill in someone's head, you can't win this case. After hanging up with the lawyer, Bot Zhao smashed a cup. I was busy with other things. There was an empty warehouse next to the garage. I negotiated for over 20 square meters. Monthly rent, 2,000. Plus the original 12 bottles. I now had over 30 bottles. I converted the warehouse into a prep room and cold storage. The stove stayed in the original garage, selling front, prep and back. Shen Yu came back from the building materials market. He brought discounted stainless steel shelves and a used freezer. We spent a weekend setting it all up. After expanding the space, the daily limit increased to 120 portions. Someone drove an hour and a half from a neighboring city to buy. They bought 5 portions at once. Another food processing bot left a business card, saying he wanted to discuss contract manufacturing. That evening, my grandmother called. My mom dialed the phone for her. After her stroke, my grandmother spoke unclearly, but I could understand her. Sixie, are you okay? Good, Grandma. What are you selling? Braising. Using the recipe you taught me, haha. Your grandfather was the same way. Started from a street stall. Later, he was pushed out. She didn't say anything. Went back and rebuilt. You laugh at him. I held the phone. Tears fell onto the edge of the stove, dripped onto the rim of the braising pot. They sizzled and evaporated. Grandma, don't worry. This flavor won't be lost. Grandma knows Xixi has the best nose. I hung up, wiped my tears, opened my notebook to write tomorrow's prep plan. Tomorrow is Monday. Shen Gang set the deadline. The final deadline is this Friday. Zhao Yudong didn't make it to Friday. On Wednesday, another franchisee quit. The store in the north of the city. They directly put up a prime location for transfer sign. That franchisee posted one sentence in the group. I can't afford to lose anymore. So everyone. Zhao Yudong sent a notice in the group that afternoon, Thursday at 2 p.m. All franchisee meeting, location, Jinjiang Hotel, 3rd floor conference room. She booked the hotel. The venue cost over 8,000. She also placed a bottle of water at each franchisee's seat and a brand manual for Tongxian stone. I wasn't there. I heard all of this later. The young woman from the flagship store went to the venue for logistics. She witnessed everything from start to finish. Of the 22 people representing 27 franchise stores, the owners of 5 stores had already stopped coming. 3 of them were in the refund process. 2 had directly closed their stores to cut losses. Zhao Yudong wore a black business suit and full makeup, but it couldn't hide the fatigue in her eyes. She brought the head of the central kitchen, the accountant, and a legal representative. She had prepared a PowerPoint. She talked about the brand's 3-year development history, new recipe R&D progress, marketing plans for the second half, supply chain upgrades. When she got to the new recipe part, her voice was trembling. No one in the audience applauded. 22 pairs of eyes stared at her. They were staring at a defendant. After the PowerPoint ended, Zhao Yudong said, "Everyone, any questions? Let's discuss." Zheng Gang raised his hand first. "Bot Zhao, I saw the PowerPoint, but I have one question. Whose ancestral secret recipe is it, really?" The room fell silent. Zhao Yudong's fingers clenched under the table. The recipe is the company's core asset. It's protected by intellectual property law. Everyone in this room has invested real money. Don't feed us parlines. He stood up. I went to that 12 square meter garage last week. 1 girl, 1 pot. She's wiping the floor with all 27 of your chain stores. That girl is your cousin who used to do the seasoning. The ancestral secret recipe is her skill. She's gone. What you have left is an empty shell. No one spoke. But everyone was looking at Zhao Yudong. Wu Yuking stood up. A woman in her early 30s. The owner of the store on the commercial street had invested 450,000. Bot Zhao, the first 3 months had lines. Now the taste has changed. Return customers are gone. This month, I'm losing over 2,000 every day. Do you know what that feels like? Your contract says you provide core technical support. Now the core person is gone. The flavor can't be replicated. How are you going to explain this to me? Another franchisee, a man in his early 40s, who opened a store in the south of the city, slammed the table. Bot Zhao, I invested so much money. I paid for that specific flavor. You said it was your family's exclusive secret recipe. No one could copy it. Now the recipe is still there, but the flavor is gone. Aren't you contradicting yourself? That garage across the street has no recipe, but their flavor is 10 times better than yours. Zhao Yudong's face turned. Everyone, let me explain. We are indeed going through a technical personnel adjustment. It's been 3 months. Hiring engineers, changing suppliers, recruiting master chefs, none of it worked because it's not a recipe problem. It's a people problem. You just can't make it anymore. Bot Zhao, my money didn't fall from the sky. If you can't provide core technical support, I have the right to demand a full refund. He slammed a withdrawal application on the table. Then Zheng Gang slammed one down. The 3rd, 4th, 5th. Within 20 minutes, 14 withdrawal applications were laid before Zhao Yutong. Her accountant was clicking away on a calculator next to her. The franchise fees and penalties for these 14 stores exceeded 4 million. The conference room was filled with the clicking sound of the calculator keys. Zhao Yutong sat there. She couldn't say a single word. After the meeting, no one said goodbye to her. 22 people walked out of the conference room one by one. Some were looking down, some were on the phone. Zheng Gang turned back to look at her before leaving. He shook